now I am making the push rods. But before I'm making the push rod, I just want to emphasize one thing that I forgot to mention earlier. Before we do the final positioning of the servo tray, we want to have the servo arms plugged in, just to see that everything clears the fuselage and that you can close the canopy. You can always open a very small notch in the fuselage. You don't want to do a very big one, or take a few tenths of a millimeter off of the servo head, but you don't want to find that you glued the servo tray too high and that the arm is sticking out, and now you have a problem and you need to disconnect the tray. That's why I always do 4 points of CA, check everything, and then and only then do I, after I complete the entire installation, do I add glue. And I'm reminding you to always put a reminder on the fuselage that if you didn't glue something in its entirety. So now I'm going to make the push rods. The push rods, I am to see what length I need to do the Z-bends on the other side. I'm positioning the push rod, the pin of the push rod next to the slot on the end. On the fuselage there's a small slot on the side. I'm putting the pin next to the slot, and I'm checking to see how long I need to make my horn. So I need to do it about 20 millimeters from the center of the servo to the start of the rod here. This is a rod that I cut earlier. I wanted to leave a little bit of material off, so if I need to introduce a bend into the metal piece, then I can do it. If I glue it all the way like this, I won't be able to add any bends if I decide I need to for some geometrical reason. So basically it's going to be something like so. Okay, 20 millimeters is about that much. So I need to make a piece that this part here will go. It's also about 15 to 20 millimeters long, that goes into the carbon push rod and gets glued. So I made one. Now I'm going to make another. I'm taking this metal piece that comes with the kit, and what I'm doing is you can either use a Z-bend if you have. I don't have one, so what I'm doing is I'm bending the end of the rod into 90 degrees. Okay, hope that you can see this. Then I am about 3 millimeters off. I am bending another 90 degrees, like so. Then I am twisting it. It's a little hard to do when you're trying to see what the camera sees while you're doing it. And then I get the Z-bend. Okay, I can play around with it and straighten it a little bit. I'm also putting it into the horn. I drill these horns a little bit, and I'm checking that to see that I can get the horn parallel to the head of the servo arm. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten it. So I'm going to take this length and I'm going to copy it. Have a small marker. I'm marking it. Now you can cut it with a piece of cutters, or you can cut it with a cut-off wheel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into my vise. The marker seemed to have rubbed off. So putting it into my vise. put it so that I can cut off both ends. One. Watch your eyes when you're doing this. Be careful, it might be a little bit hot. And then what I have here is it's about 1.5 to 2 millimeters long on this side, and it's about, this one is about 45 millimeters long on the other side. And again, this length is a question of how much you've trimmed your push rods. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back into the vise, and the last 15 millimeters I'm going to make some slots. And then I'm going to take a file and roughen it up, just to take the shine off of the metal piece of the metal rod. Okay, I've done this a little bit on the other one. I'm going to do just a little bit more. That's it. So now I have these two ready. They'll be glued inside. I'm using CA. You can use a lot of different things, but I like to use CA for this application. If done right, it doesn't come out in flight, and if you need to remove it for some reason, you can always hit this up with a torch, and then you can pull it out. Have to say that I've never had to pull it out, but I know people who have. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how I connect this, prepare this for the wing in order to glue this in the right length. Obviously you can't just glue it, because then the head of the servo won't be in the right angle. You want both ailerons to be symmetrical. The servo arm, you want it symmetrical in regards to either side, and you want to get it in the right geometry so you get the correct amount of movement of the aileron up and the flap down. So the way to do this is, first I prepare 2 pieces of tape, 2 pieces of masking tape. Now the best tool for doing this job is a pair of tweezers. I pick the rod up like this. I position it so that you can put it either like this or like this. It has a different, it has a direction, but it doesn't really matter. I don't really have a personal preference on the matter. And now I'm bringing it from a low angle. I'm putting it in, and I am searching for the slot. It takes a couple of seconds, and it has to be, it can't be like this, otherwise it won't go in. It has to be flat like so. So okay, and it's in. Now I'm looking through the slots until it's in the middle of the slot. When the pushrod is in the middle of the slot, I will hold it with my finger, take one of the pieces of tape, and attach it to the fuselage like so. So now I hope you can see this. It's a little bit difficult to see, but the arm, I have a light here, so you can see that the arm is in the middle of the slot, ready for the wing to accept it. So if it's not completely parallel, if it's not parallel to the face of the wing saddle, you can turn it a little bit with the tweezers and get it ready for a connection to the wing. The way to glue these in is to have the wing position, the flap set to the right angle, and then you put some glue on this, you plug it in, and you put the servo arm in. That's the way it's done. Okay. Doing the other side, I'm doing it the same way from the inside, and I'm bringing it to the center of the slot. Using a piece of masking tape to hold it in place. Now using the tweezers to align it just right. And here I have, let's bring the light again. I have the two push rods. They're not exactly in the same position, but more or less, and they're aligned. And here you have the two push rods held in place by the tape. I'm going to take my wing. Now remember, there's the automating system here, basically, and I'm trying to do it so you can see it in the camera, which means that I'm not doing it in the direction I'm used to doing it, but it's engaged. You can see the flap isn't moving, the flap isn't moving. We'll do it again. You just bring the front in place and you slowly bring it down and it's engaged. It's that simple. Now I'm taking the two wing screws and I am screwing them on. Okay, now I am ready to glue the servos in, the push rods in. All I need to do is to set up my servo tester, and once I get that set up, we'll start the next part of the clip.